The movie opens with a graphic designer named Vincent Borel, who is going through his normal day at the office. Amidst the work, he passes some mean comments at one of the interns, Hugo. This enrages the latter, and he ends up launching an attack on him. Chaos ensues as Hugo beats up Vincent with his laptop. The other colleagues immediately pull the intern away, while Vincent is sent to dress the wound on his face. In the aftermath, the supervisor investigates the matter, and assuming that the work stress might have affected the boy, she decides not to hire interns anymore. She also talks to Vincent, offering to file a complaint to HR if he wants, but he opts not to escalate the matter and brushes it off. However, as he returns to his work desk, he notices that things have changed. Everyone is watching him, and there are whispers. No more unpaid interns. He set them free. Later in the evening, Vincent returns home and spends some time looking for a potential girlfriend on a dating app. In addition, he takes a picture of his injury and uploads it on social media to get numerous sympathetic comments. The following day at the office, Vincent is working at his desk when suddenly a coworker named Eves grabs his hand and starts stabbing it with a pen. Once again, the fellow workers intervene and pull them apart. A scared Vincent then runs away, after which the attacker snaps out of what seems to be a hallucination. Later, the two men report themselves to HR in order to discuss the incident. Eves honestly admits that he wasn't in his normal state of mind and that he doesn't remember anything about the incident. He clearly feels bad for what he did and apologizes to Vincent in a crying voice. As a result, Vincent doesn't file a formal complaint and ends the matter with a mutual handshake. Later on, another boss advises Vincent to work remotely since something about him is obviously unnerving people. Before returning home, Vincent asks a coworker to check social media to see if there are any bad rumors about him, but they find nothing. This confuses Vincent, and he wonders why people are charging towards him for no apparent reason. To refresh himself from the ongoing events, he later goes on a date with a woman that he met on the dating app. They meet at a restaurant and the duo have a good time talking. However, their smooth-going conversation soon takes a different turn when Vincent notices a homeless man staring through the window.
Ooh, a hot date.
The man starts walking towards the restaurant, but as he proceeds to cross the street, he's hit by a car. This incident makes Vincent uncomfortable, so he leaves. Even on the way home, he can't stop feeling that everyone on the street is watching him. As a result, he gets into a taxi. The next day, Vincent goes for a ride on his bicycle. When he stops at a red light, he notices a car driver staring at him without blinking. Realizing the imminent danger, Vincent ignores the light and rides away, but the car chases after him. In a state of panic, he falls off the bicycle, but luckily manages to hide off the road. Vincent finally breathes a sigh of relief when the car drives away. Upon returning home, he searches the internet for news related to mysterious cases of violence. He is disturbed to find several examples of people suddenly disassociating and attacking whoever is around them. Concerned about the ongoing predicament, Vincent seeks counsel from a psychologist, hoping for insight into his predicament. However, the psychologist dismisses his concerns as attention-seeking behavior. Despite this, Vincent refuses to give up and decides to take matters into his own hands. He reflects on his experiences and discerns a pattern. Everything bad starts with eye contact. However, he doesn't know how it stops. As a result, he goes to the balcony and says hello to the neighbor, who at first returns the greeting with good manners, but after a few seconds of staring, the neighbor's face goes blank and he throws his stuff towards Vincent. When Vincent looks out for the second time, the neighbor appears confused over what happened. This makes him realize that the second eye contact ends the attack. That afternoon, Vincent orders a package containing a taser, handcuffs, and pepper spray. He then takes some time to practice on how to react swiftly when he's under attack. Now that he feels a bit safer, he goes for a walk, but when he gets back, the neighboring kids see him and immediately charge towards him. Vincent tries to defend himself without hurting them, but the kids persist and even bite him. Left with no other choice, he throws the children to the floor. At the same time, the kid's mother spots him and accuses him of assaulting her children. She calls for her husband and some other neighbors, prompting Vincent to rush to hide inside his apartment. Scared, Vincent blocks his door with furniture and waits until everyone leaves. When it gets quiet outside, Vincent packs up some of his belongings things, takes a cab, and makes his way to his father's place. Once there, he learns that his father, Jean-Pierre, now lives with his new girlfriend. Upon realizing that there's no room for him to stay, Vincent borrows his father's car and drives away. After a few hours of driving, he pulls over at a store, buys some food, and eats it while sitting in a park. While there, he's approached by a homeless man, Joaquim, and his dog. Believing that he's about to be attacked, Vincent tries to leave, but the old man assures that he possesses no harm. Joaquim says that he witnessed how Vincent avoided eye contact with the cashier earlier. The old man then reveals that he's also suffering from the same predicament as Vincent for the past 7 months. It got so bad that he had to leave his job and his family. He doesn't know what caused it, but he knows there are others like him that chat on forums and blogs. Joaquim recommends that Vincent use the one that he uses, the Watchman blog. In this platform, they discuss techniques to survive alone, since even going to the hospital is dangerous. Before departing, Joaquim advises Vincent to get a dog, as it won't attack him and can warn him of any danger. Following this, Vincent drives towards his family's countryside property. He secures the gate with chains before making his way inside. He then uses his laptop to access the website recommended by Joaquim. He tries to chat, but he needs an account for it. As a result, he creates an account and joins the blog under the fictitious name 69 Vape God for Jesus 420. From this point onwards, he starts to learn several tricks on how to deal with this strange situation. Vincent's days are now filled with careful actions. Even when he orders food, he doesn't open the gate until the delivery guy leaves. In addition, he watches several self-defense videos and practices it all to keep himself safe. One day, a neighbor sees him and comes over to say hi. Their conversation starts off friendly until the neighbor's daughter begins to stare at him. She violently tries to reach for Vincent, prompting him to rush back inside. Later, while surfing through the website, he finds Joaquim's profile and they start conversing via DMs. Sometime later, Vincent goes to the bathroom, only to discover that the toilet has been clogged. He goes to check the septic tank outside and finds it flooded as well. Just then, a repairman called by the neighbor arrives, and Vincent tries his best to avoid eye contact. But unfortunately, the man happens to look into his eyes, immediately making him violent. Following this, a physical brawl ensues between the two, with Vincent desperately trying to fend off the man. As the fight escalates, the attacker throws him into a pile of excreta and starts beating him up. But Vincent somehow manages to grab a nearby rock and knocks him unconscious. In the aftermath, Vincent quickly washes himself and loads the repairman into a car trunk before driving away. Upon reaching a distance, he opens the car trunk to abandon the repairman, but the latter unexpectedly attacks him with a knife. This infuriates Vincent, so he finishes him off with a hammer. After disposing of the body, he returns home, takes a shower, and stitches his wounds. The following day, Vincent visits a dog shelter to buy a pet for his company. Amidst all the barking dogs, his attention is caught by a quiet one that appears friendly towards him. The dog is supposed to be for self-defense. Why would he want the quiet one? But he chooses it and brings it home, naming it Sultan. In the next scene, Vincent and his dog are seen playing at a beach. Soon, a group of family members walks towards him, and Sultan quickly alerts him by barking. Not wanting to get into any trouble, they both flee the scene. That evening, Vincent drives to a fast food restaurant and makes an order. He pretends to be disabled and asks a waitress to bring the food outside. Margot is the one who brings his order. When she asks about his disability, he confesses that he lied. But Margot doesn't mind because she likes having an excuse to catch a break from the clients inside. Her free-spirited attitude immediately impresses Vincent, causing him to develop a crush on her. And surely she likes him too. Nothing's hotter than a man who fakes disabilities. The next morning, he again goes to the same restaurant to see Margot under the pretense of ordering food. As the two converse, a couple of bikers show up. Seeing them, Margot immediately gets into Vincent's car and asks him to drive away. Upon reaching a safe distance, she thanks him for saving her from trouble. She also suggests that they stop at a nearby bar and grab a drink together, which he agrees to. Margot then purchases 2 bottles of beer and they enjoy drinking it in the parking lot. However, their respite is short-lived as the bikers locate them. They immediately demand Margot for money she owes them. Moments later, one of the bikers happens to look Vincent in the eyes, causing him to go blank. Sensing the danger, Sultan starts barking, and Vincent immediately subdues the guy with his taser. When the other biker charges towards him, Vincent manages to knock him down with a punch before they all flee the scene. As they drive away, Sultan starts growling, but before Vincent can react, Margot launches her attack on him in a desperate bid to defend himself. Vincent hits her head against the car window, rendering her unconscious. He then brings her to his house and locks her inside a room. Margot wakes up the next morning with no recollection of of what happened. She tries to unlock the door, but Vincent addresses her from outside. He asks her to close her eyes, assuring that he'll drop her at home. Margot complies, and Vincent guides her to his car, where he handcuffs her for safety. If Margot's into this kind of stuff, then this is a very good first date. En route, Margot asks about the matter, and Vincent shares his entire ordeal. As expected, she doesn't believe him, so he decides to show her a demo. He pulls over the car at the supermarket and makes his way inside. Not long after, he rushes outside with a rally of people chasing him. He somehow manages to get inside the car and narrowly escapes the scene. This incident finally convinces Margot that he's speaking the truth. A short while later, they arrive at Margot's home, which turns out to be a boat. She invites him inside, where they share some drinks and a chat. Their conversation soon takes a romantic turn, and they end up making out. Later on, Vincent goes to his car to retrieve his phone, during which he finds several messages from Joaquim. He then calls Joaquim, who claims that he's cured because nobody attacks him any longer. However, he doesn't know how it happened. Now, he's finally going to meet his wife after so long. Once the call ends, Vincent returns to Margot, and the duo have some romantic conversation before falling asleep. Unfortunately, at midnight, Margot gets on top of Vincent and begins choking him. She's not possessed, she just took the handcuffs earlier as a sign. In a desperate attempt to save himself, he knocks her with a punch before rushing outside. Minutes later, Margot calls him back, but she doesn't blame him for defending himself. While Vincent takes care of the wound he gave her, she wonders if they can make their relationship work. Suddenly, Sultan starts barking, and they hear a voice, which Margot recognizes as the owner of a neighboring boat. Then, more and more voices can be heard yelling in the distance. Sensing a looming threat, they hastily drive away from the scene. They go to Vincent's place, only to find signs of a break-in. Regardless, they make their way inside, where they encounter Jean-Pierre holding a shotgun. Vincent asks about the matter, to which his father explains that a bunch of violent people broke into their house and killed his girlfriend. The old man breaks down in tears, so Vincent offers him a comforting hug before putting him to sleep. Afterwards, Vincent receives a message from Joaquim, informing him that things didn't go well with his wife. Now that he doesn't have any reason to survive, he decides to commit the unthinkable. Before bidding goodbye, he shares the coordinates of all the shelters organized by their website. Devastated, Vincent repeatedly tries to call him, but to no avail. The following morning, he drives his father, girlfriend, and dog towards one of the shelters. On their way, they hear the news on the radio, mentioning a wave of violence taking over the country. Eventually, they come across a highway blocked by a bunch of vehicles. People seem to have gone insane as they're fighting each other, creating a riot. Jean-Pierre wants to get revenge for his girlfriend, so he gets out of the car to join the scuffle. Panicked, Vincent goes after him, during which he sees people brutally killing each other. Meanwhile, Sultan also follows them, but it doesn't bark even once. I love dogs, but Sultan is useless. This makes Vincent realize that nobody wants to attack him anymore. Oh, sorry, Sultan. He continues to search for his father in the crowd, but can't find him. Upon witnessing the escalating situation, Margot approaches Vincent and manages to convince him to leave without his father. Following this, they run away from the highway, making their way through the woods. After several hours of walking, Vincent's face suddenly goes blank, as if something has taken over him. He then unexpectedly attacks Margot, but she somehow manages to cover his eyes, ultimately making him stop. In the aftermath of this incident, Margot blindfolds his eyes with a piece of her clothing before pressing on. Sometime later, they make it to a road where they find a car with a dead driver. Margot takes down the body, and the two drive back to her place. In the final scene, Vincent, Margot, and Sultan board a boat and sail away to start a new life together.